Hello, my name's Ben Kay, former England international rugby player and now a rugby expert with BT Sport. Welcome to my Accenture RBS Six Nations blog. Looking back to England's performance against Scotland, a really good performance up in the atrocious conditions in Murrayfield a couple of weekends ago. And I think England will be pretty happy with the performance. They got some good scores in, they made some good attacking play, resulting in 27 defenders beaten, which is a massive amount for a single international game at that level, particularly with the weather conditions. Where they'll probably be slightly concerned is the amount of turnovers they gave away though, 14 in the game, which is a little bit too high, and we'll look ahead to the dangers that might pose to Ireland with Ireland in a minute. Players that stood out for me for England in that game, Mike Brown again got on the score sheet with some determined running, second game running, and Luther Burrell as well. Debutant against France, got on the score sheet and then backed it up. He's showing the intelligence of his lines with both those tries, not perhaps setting the game alight like he has done for Northampton this year, but taking his opportunities, and that's hugely important in Test match rugby. In the forwards, the line-out's functioning particularly well, and that relationship between Northampton clubmates Dylan Hartley as the thrower and Courtney Laws as the line-out manager and caller is growing and growing in terms of international rugby. I think Dylan's threw 20 line-outs in at the weekend against Scotland and hit all of them. So 100% from 20 line-outs is really, really impressive statistics, particularly in those wet and windy conditions. Laws himself took 11 of those line-out balls, but more importantly for me is his ability to manage the line-out. Someone who hasn't done it much before, but has really grown into that role. And his all-round play as well has been fantastic. His ability to carry the ball and keep the legs driving through contact. We've always known he's been a big hitter, but he's now making really good decisions in terms of what sort of tackle he makes. Not going for the big hit every time, but his percentages in terms of completions have gone up as a result. The standout player for me for England over the championship so far has been Billy Vunipola, a guy who I said at the beginning of the championship, before it started, was going to be vital for England, because we've seen his performances for Wasps and now Saracens this season. He's really added to that. I think so far this year he's made 33 carries, absolutely huge number, but made 126 metres in the process, beaten 9 defenders, and he's also set up 2 tries for his teammates. So they're the players that are standing out for England at the moment. In terms of the Ireland game that's coming up, the massive focus for me, 2 real key areas to the game. Firstly, the scrum. 2 years ago, England destroyed Ireland at Twickenham at the scrum, set the foundations for a very memorable victory. That was with Dan Cole and Alex Corbisiero there. Neither of those guys are available because of injury, and Dan Cole is a massive miss for England. And I think Cian Healy, his opposite number, is going to be absolutely licking his lips, because David Wilson, coming back from an injury, he played really well at the beginning of the season, but now he's come back from a long-term injury. Poor performance in his first game back for Bath last weekend, and I just think that's an area that, from being a massive strength for England, Wilson now will be thinking about getting through the game himself. He's only his second game back, and I think that's an area that will be a big psychological swing for the Irish. The other area that's going to be massively important is the breakdown. Now, England's performances, both against France and Scotland, the great attacking work they've done has all come from getting exceptionally fast ball at the breakdown. Billy Vunipola, who I'd spoken about before, carrying the ball in, tying in a few defenders, then going to ground, releasing quick ball, and the space out wide for some of the quicker players in the backs. The problem that England might face this weekend, Ireland almost created a new style of defence called the choke tackle, where they hold the player up in contact, don't allow him to go to ground, thus winning the scrum put in for themselves and the turnover that way. Now, if Billy Vunipola tries to stay on his feet too long, that really plays into the Irish back row's hands. They've got the likes of Heaslip, fantastic in that department. O'Mahony, who got man of the match against the Welsh last week, he is really good around the breakdown. So you know that Ireland sole focus this weekend will be to slow England's ball at the breakdown. Now, England have players to counteract that, the likes of Chris Robshaw, Tom Wood. We've seen them in performances against the likes of New Zealand, really being, how did Stuart Lancaster put it, controlled violence at the breakdown to make sure they get quick ball. But that is the area, that and the scrum. If England can win those two areas, I think they'll go on and win the game. If they can't win those two areas, I think Ireland will come out on top. I make Ireland slight favourites for this game because of the scrum factor and Dan Cole, really, though home advantage is always really important in the Six Nations. In terms of Ireland and England's weaknesses that they can perhaps attack, firstly, the more pressure on Ireland because they've still got the option of or the ability to go on and win the Grand Slam. But the line out is a key area. It's been working really well this season for Ireland. But Rory Best has the ability to wobble a little bit, the Irish hooker, in terms of throwing. And if England can put massive pressure on that area, that could be one of those things that they've gone into the game with massive confidence. Suddenly that area is knocked away from them and England can build on that. The other area, if England can get quick ball, Ireland are a little bit slow at setting their defensive line when the opposition have quick ball. So England can get that. There are opportunities to attack out wide. So prediction wise, I think it's going to be really close. I actually think that most people will make Ireland the favourites, but being an Englishman, I can't back against my own team. So I'm going to take England for a very close victory, 21-19.